Good listeners, you've got yourself about 2 minutes after the hour here at Radio Free Fargo, KRFF 95.9 LPFM, Moorhead, Fargo, radiofreefargo.org. Go there, donate. You can listen to this. You can listen to archive stuff, but mostly you can donate because we would like your monies, because we can keep doing this awesome stuff if you keep kicking it down. And like I said, it's a dying breed to have a radio station without commercials and without some sort of bigger conglomerate controlling what I say, because what I say is C is for cannabis and cookie, but we cover cannabis legalization and, cannabis in a positive light. And I would argue that a lot of stations probably would get scared and tell me that I can't do it, but not here. So if you want that kind of quality, that might be far-fetched, but if you want this kind of diversity and people that can come with a backbone, which I like to think I'm one of them, go donate, radiofreefargo.org. Cannabis, that's what we're talking about. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. That's me. Every Thursday, 4 o'clock, I get in here. 4:20, we open up a stinky bag of cannabis news, and this Thursday's no different, except it's New Year's Eve, yo. So, ho, 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 or should I say hi. It's 420 degrees always here in the studio. I'm dressed appropriately. Fargo's where I'm hailing. Wherever you guys are, howdy. We're going to say goodbye to this 2020, and there's memes and people beating it to death. We all know 2020 sucked, all right? So 2021 could even suck, kinda, feel me? But again, we got a mobile mental health crisis response number, 1-800-233-4512. Get your head right. The New Life Center helps people who are homeless and hurting go from merely surviving to truly thriving. Their aim is to help people in need discover value and find hope. The New Life Center has evolved into a multifaceted emergency and crisis service center. To learn more about NLC, visit their website at www.fargonlc.org or give them a call at 701-235-4453. New Year's Eve, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. And so I'm not really even sure what I should do. Should I talk about, the year in cannabis? Or do we look ahead and see what, I think's coming up? I've got a new thing I'm going to talk about, Delta-8 THC. That's legal, at least in North Dakota. So we'll kind of, what is that, you're thinking? And if you don't know, I'm going to take care of you. 420, bag of cannabis, news. We're going to discuss everything I want to discuss, and hopefully something you're interested in. Or you're just not doing anything, you're driving around, and this is just drivel into your ear. I can do that, too. So anyway, radiofreefargo.org, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, Canna-Talk ND on YouTube. Tomorrow we'll yank out the music and edit you a, talkie only, and that'll be on like Apple and some sort of other platform as well. So I encourage you to go check all that stuff out. Indie for Freedom of Cannabis is the Facebook page. And then on Sundays, you got Philip Cannahead Pilko. He's going to do the Cannahead stuff. And so check that out. We are, I don't know, you're probably wondering, is it music time? Yeah, I think maybe. So this thing up here is Mary Jane, Rick James, Batch. Oh, man, Mary Jane, Rick James, 1978, boy, y'all. It's kind of ironic because he's probably all hopped up on crack singing about Mary Jane. But that's some good funk right there, ain't no doubt about it. Radio Free Fargo, 95.9, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. We talk about cannabis legalization news, and we cover it in a positive light. Unless some other fool trying to bring it down, and then I got to be, you know what I mean? I got to hit him with my pot pistol, whatever that is. 420, we open a fresh bag of cannabis news, and this Thursday's no different, except it's New Year's. That's right. Tomorrow is no longer 2020. So, looking ahead in, cannabis legalization, I mean, we came out of 2020 like a rocket. I'm not going to lie. I mean, we swept the elections. I took one whole show to brag about everybody that passed it. And there's some wrinkles, in South Dakota, and we'll cover that too. But I just think it's kind of one of those things where the spoiled sport, right? They got the poor loser, Christy don't know him, and her little cop henchman, they didn't like that they lost their money. They can't shake down the normal guy anymore. And so instead of, saying, well, fair's, fair and square, nah, they're going to use your tax dollars that you voted cannabis in. They're going to take your tax dollars and they're going to do it to go against you. They're going to take the money that you gave them to change what you wanted. Now, that should blow your mind. And I don't even know how you can fix that. But bug your legislators, if you're in South Dakota, and next year, if there's anything you can do, I'm not telling you who to vote for, but man, that doesn't sound like a very pro-cannabis mentality to take the person who voted for cannabis's tax dollars and use it to remove that thing that you voted for is just stinking nuts. All right. So January 6th, I believe, according to Leslie for Committee for Compassionate Care, she's kind of the medical, the medical person. So if you got questions or you're wondering what they're going to discuss, reach out to her, and they'll be in the Capitol, hopefully being a pain in people's hindy holes, to get this thing moving. And then call your legislator, email them, get on their Facebook page, or link them, tag them, like, Roar Jones, what do you think about cannabis legalization? Because it's kind of something you force them to be engaged in. They can't really ignore it because it shows up on their page, I think. I don't know. But anyway, maybe that's what we need to do, to start just giving accountability into people's faces. You know what I'm saying? But it is New Year's Eve. I hope everybody's got the chocolates, whatever that means. You're going to be doing some dancing, but you probably won't. I'm sure downtown Fargo has some things. It's probably mostly virtual. So this might be the livest you're going to get. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson talking about cannabis all hour. 4:20, I'm going to give you some news. But right now, according to my clock on the wall, it says I got 40 more seconds. And then I'm going to bust out a round of music. And then when we come on the other side of it, it's 4:20 cannabis talkie time. So C is for cannabis and cookie. Just a little something for you. I thought of that on the way here. That's how geniuses' brains work. C is for cannabis and cookie. And I am wearing Sesame Street socks. The more you know. Here's my Cadillac, the good old reefer man. Cab Calloway, 1937. I just want to mention that RadioFreeFargo.org, right before me, Side Stage with Trav, noon to 3. Then it's an hour of automation. And then Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. That's where we're at right now. And we are ankle deep in this 420. That's when we talk about cannabis. So let's do it. I'll see you on the other side here. Radio Free Fargo, 95.9.
Yo, it's Wilson from Canna-Talk ND. The super awesome show you're getting ready to listen to. I think you should go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'll wait. Okay, enjoy the show.
And hello, everybody. How we doing? Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every stinking Thursday at 4:20, we open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and this Thursday's no different. So just let me get my head on straight here, and we'll give you about 30 minutes of straight-up cannabis news. So anyway, welcome, everybody. It's New Year's Eve. I don't know what you guys got planned, but maybe you want to go out and get some Delta-8 THC. I know you can get it here in town because that's how I'm going to set up the story. But every Thursday, we talk about cannabis news, and this Thursday's no different. Come back next Thursday, and then after that, then I'm going to give you the March 3rd edition of Canna-Talk ND, and that was right before, and I had guests in, it was right before we went on some crazy COVID thing. So it's going to be interesting to check that out, and I'll cue that up for you. But then January 14th, I will be in Mexico getting the rest of my dental work done, so I might get this Delta-8 myself. All right, you're saying, what's Delta-8 THC? Well, some of you guys probably already know. And if you've done it, then, I'd be curious to hear what you thought. ND for Freedom on Facebook or Canna-Talk ND, my page. Go there, give me your account of it, what you know about it, what you think about it. Delta-8 THC, again, I never heard of it. I've heard of the Delta-9, and that's the one that's illegal. And that's the one, like if you got 90% Delta-9 THC, it'd blow your face off. Unless you have a medical card and you have a tolerance, then it'd barely crack your cheek. You know what I'm saying? And so then you've got Delta-11, and that's the edible properties. When you eat it and it goes past the liver, it turns from 9 into 11. Okay, so you got 11 is the edibles. That's after it passes the liver. And then you've got Delta-9, THC. That's the big demon, the demon cannabinoid that's been overly punished, as far as I'm concerned. And before we get started, educate yourself so you know about the benefits of cannabis, and then educate somebody else so we can get this thing stinking legalized for the benefit of others. It's just like wearing a mask. You protect others. That's what we're doing with cannabis. You don't have to believe that it helps. Just trust me that I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. And let's work together. You know what I mean? Hand in hand, let's get the plant legalized. And then we'll have a beautiful 2021. Okay? So anyway, my daughter and her boyfriend was in town over the holidays, and he was looking for a smoking cessation. He'd went from tobacco to the pen, and he was looking for something else. And he had kind of a back issue, because he's a hard worker. So anyway, he was wondering what he should do. And I said, well, CBD works great, for all kinds of things. For anxiety, it helps you relax. When I was in Mexico losing my mind, getting a dentist working on me that didn't even understand English, it kind of tripped me out a little. I thought I was dying. CBD came to the rescue. Thank you, CBD. Now, so there's a store over by the motel that they were staying at. I won't tell you the store. I'll just tell you that it used to be the Doublewood Motel, okay? And it felt funky in there. It felt a little awkward, So we went in there first, and I didn't even realize what he was telling me until we were like, nah, we'll go somewhere else. And then we ended up going somewhere else. He got taken care of. But what stuck into my head was he starts talking about Delta-8 THC. All right. So there's an article here I got. It's called Delta-8 THC, Everything You Need to Know by Matthew Mongilia. As cannabis reform progresses, so has cannabis knowledge. There's various cannabinoids. You got the CBC, you got the CBG, and you got THCV. All right. But apparently, THC that gets us high, that's the Delta-9. However, very few know that Delta-9 is not the only type of THC. Now, the thing with THC-8 is that in flower, it only has 1%. All right? So you have to make it an extract, or a concentrate. So then once you do that, once you do that, let me get to where we're going here. Okay, Delta Effects gets our THC from the hemp plant by the way of CO2 extraction. We got into the space to fill a need for states where Delta-9 is still prohibited, with the Hemp Act. And now that's the gray area but anyway, Delta-8 may share similarities with 9, and unlike CBD, which is heralded for its lack of psychoactive effects, Delta-8 is psychoactive. It's just kind of weed light. It can be psychoactive for some consumers, just less so than Delta-9. And because of the Hemp Act and its derivative of hemp, that most states, and this is this state, it's legal. So Delta-8's unique properties lends themselves to a variety of uses. For the cannabis curious, it can act as a bridge to acclimating to other cannabinoids. And again, it's a clear focus. While many people use cannabis to help with social anxiety, Delta-9 effects tend to be too racy or hard to focus under certain circumstances. Can I get an amen? But when clarity is higher on the priority list, a regular cannabis consumer might reach for Delta-8 above Delta-9. Maybe more like they would, prefer sativa instead of the nighttime indica couch. All right? So this is kind of and it's legal. As mentioned, Delta-8 is available to consumers who might not otherwise be able to try the Delta-9. While some states may have individual restrictions, Delta-8 cannabinoids are completely hemp-derived and thus fall under the legislation of the 2018 Farm Bill. In accordance with the bill's guidelines, Delta-8 preparations contain less than 0.3 Delta-9 THC. All right, the differences in name and how it's sourced may seem like small details, but they change how Delta-8 is handled legally. In the United States, the hemp derivation and lack of Delta-9 THC ideally puts Delta-8 preparations into the same class as CBD products because it is from the hemp plant. However, it is, a form of THC. All right, but rather THC metabolites are the result of the body processing any form of THC. Think of it as finding a popsicle stick. Someone ate a popsicle but can't tell the exact flavor. Is the red from strawberry or cherry? If you need to pass a drug test, just be aware. Regardless, always do your own research. Bump, ba-dum, ba-dum, bump, bump. So what did we learn? Delta-8. Flower and vapes, depending on the consumer. If you're only into flower, you probably should hang out with CBD. If you're nervous about, passing passing the test at home. But hopefully 2021, and we can get that changed, So anyway, bug your legislators going into this month of January. It's a new year. Let's be proud, and let's just, have a backbone and stand up and get it pushed through, because the more we bug, the less they can stick it under a rug. Okay, I can't rhyme. But anyway, Illinois governor, this is marijuana moment. Illinois governor announces 500,000 marijuana expungements and pardon. Let's give the governor of Illinois a hand. Of course, only for expunging, because I don't know how he is as a governor. The governor of Illinois on Thursday announced more than 500,000 expungements and pardons for people with low-level marijuana offenses on their record. The massive clemency and records-clearing sweep comes about 1 year after the state's legal cannabis market launch. Prior to its implementation, Governor J.B. Pritzker granted an earlier round of more than 11,000 pardons for marijuana-related convictions, which Governor J.B. Pritzker, I didn't say that right, is tweeted, I'm proud to announce that nearly 500,000 low-level cannabis have been expunged. But what kind of world do we live in, ladies and gentlemen, when Governor J.B. Pritzker's form of reaching out to the masses is on stinking Twitter? What I mean, and 45 definitely started this whole, administrative reaching to the people via tweets. It used to be a little different, I can assure you. And I have a hard time taking, tweets as, validity, But, that's where Governor J.B. Pritzker told us about the pardons. And then, 45, he loved using tweets to do whatever he does. All right. So the new efforts, slightly fewer gubernatorial pardons, but an additional 500,000 for people convicted over non-felony cannabis offenses. The Illinois State Police help facilitate the record-clearing process. Illinois' law includes restorative justice components that require the state to proactively expunge certain cannabis convictions, and that's what I would like to see in North Dakota. Don't make me go through a bunch of hoops, check the boxes. Has it been 5 years? Have I done anything since? No. Cannabis is legal now. What's the deal? And I'm not even sure that you need to, I don't know. You don't have to take it off my record. Just, don't let it be the thing that shows up when the cop runs my plates. Because that's what gives a lot of these, South Dakota cops the, the wherewithal to pursue things, or anything on your person, they will use that. I had a pen that said Committee for Compassionate Care, and because there was a cannabis leaf in the center, bing, that's where they, that's what they took. So the Prisoner Review Board, the Illinois State Police, and our partners, they worked, so thankfully the cops are working. But they're making so much money, and it's probably being removed, not the right word, but, revamped or whatever it's called, relegated. The funds are relegated from cannabis in Illinois to where the cops are cool with it, but South Dakota, that was their huge money influx. And then it was just stripped away from them. And that's no good. But anyway, you're with Wilson here, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson on Radio Free Fargo, 95.9. Every Thursday at 4:20, we get into a big fat bag of cannabis news, and this is no different, except it's New Year's Eve. So I wish everybody a great year tomorrow, and let's, anything will be better. But like somebody said a little bit ago, so forget I said that. Go out and get yourself some Delta-8. Google it. It's definitely out here, but it's an extract, so you'll have to dab it. But, hey, it's legal in the state of North Dakota, and it is a psychoactive type of ingredient. So there you go. That's my gift to you from me. Delta-8 THC, legal in the state of North Dakota, has psychoactive properties. Go get you some. Okay, so the press release says the expungement process has been completed at the state level, but county clerks are still processing expungements at a local level. Arrest records from DuPage, Kane, blah, 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 have been expunged at the local level. So I don't even know really what that means, and I'm just going to keep moving. All right, so let's talk about Mississippi and South Dakota. Again, this is a marijuana moment, and I'm going to cruise through marijuana moment to blow out the last few last minutes here. I didn't really, I'm going to let cannabis do the talking. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, let's talk about this. Government officials have from two traditionally conservative states. And that's the thing. South Dakota, Mississippi. South Dakota, it's almost like it's conservative because of how north it is. And Mississippi is conservative for how south it is, you know. And it's interesting that conservatism up in this part really, I mean, it kind of derives from religion. But that's certainly in Mississippi down there. It's the Bible Belt. But it's ironic because you would think conservatism and religion would kind of, you know, have each other in their, you know, be in each other's pants, as it were. But, you know, I don't know that it's a hugely religious area up here, you know, but it's certainly conservative. So anyway, the mayor of city of Madison, Mississippi, he asked the state Supreme Court to nullify the cannabis reform measure because she argued it was unlawfully placed before voters. The suit did not weigh in on the merits of the proposal itself. But while the plaintiff argued that the legalization proposal was invalid because of a state statute that dictates the percentage of signatures required per district to qualify a ballot initiative, the Attorney General's office submitted a filing on Monday for the Secretary of State, Michael Watson, that contests the basis of this suit. Last month, in an earlier round of briefs, the officials characterized the legal challenge as woefully untimely. And that's the thing about South Dakota. It's almost like, well, first of all, your tax dollars is being paid for this illegal proceeding, you know, by the governor, highway patrol and everything. Starts to get up in that, you know, where everybody knows everybody, you know. So it's not like, and that's what worries me because the little guy ain't going to be invited to those closed door meetings. You know, it's going to be Noam and the cops. And they're going to try to figure out, and then they're going to get the judges in there if they can. Because if you don't think people talk to judges and there's no corruption within the system, you on crack, my friend. All the wheels get greased. That's the way it works. All the wheels get greased. And in South Dakota, at the end of the day, what it took for me to get home was $500. They didn't care if I was going to do any more. They didn't care to tell me that I need to get my life straight. They wanted $500. And that's it. So that $500 got allocated to the highway patrol, you know, got to, you know, the prison. I mean, it all got worked into the budget of South Dakota. And so that's what's happening now. It scares me because closed door stuff happens and we're not there to make sure that cannabis is getting a fair shake. And then all of a sudden they decide, like the judge decides that it's not proper, and then they strike it from the record. And you're like, well, wait a minute. You didn't look at all the facts. He didn't want to hear the facts because he didn't want it legal. And so he just made sure that it voted 5-4. You know, they just made sure all the judges voted against. And that's happening. It happened in Nebraska, and it happens all the time. But the problem is cannabis legalization is rolling. It's rolling. People that people respect are getting behind it. There's money for cannabis legalization. So all of a sudden, the tide is switching in 2021. I mean, let's give cannabis a hand. Man, yeah, cannabis. The C is for cookie and cannabis. So anyway, the city claimed standing is disconnected from the only alleged injury at issue, and I don't even know what that means. Meanwhile, in South Dakota, another legal challenge against the constitutionality of a legalization initiative is playing out. In this case, plaintiffs are claiming that the recreational marijuana measure violates a state statute requiring that proposals that appear on the ballot only deal with a single subject, you know? And again, I don't want to get fired up about that, but Pennington County Sheriff Kevin and State Highway Patrol Superintendent initially filed a suit last month. But the Secretary of State and pro-reform campaign, South Dakotans for Better Marijuana Laws, are pushing back and submitted detailed responses last week. So that's cool. So while different states have adopted a variety of tests to determine when a constitutional change is an amendment or a revision, they have consistently held that the authority of the citizens to alter their governing document is paramount, and the courts should only subvert the people's will in the narrowest of circumstances, the Attorney General wrote in a memo on the state's behalf. I wanted to mention that the Attorney General was the writer of the medical bill. So that's cool. And Attorney General, I don't know if you noticed the word in front of general is stinking attorney, you know, because we need a pro-cannabis lawyer that's up in them rooms when they're talking, you know, because it's just, I don't trust them. And the way they've treated people of color and people under a certain margin, they ought to be ashamed of themselves. So I don't trust them one bit. Those prisons aren't built with love. They're built for profit, and they're doing it, and people want to keep doing it. So anyway, it is inconsequential that the Amendment A deals with rec marijuana, medical marijuana, and hemp separately, the memo says. They are all part of the same group or class, cannabis. In other words, cannabis is cannabis is cannabis. I love it, right? Just like corn is corn is corn. Although corn is liquor. Feel me? South Dakotans for Better Marijuana Laws, which ran the campaign to pass the legalization, they're said in a separate filing, the Rapid City Journal, that because Thom and Miller are state officials, statute precludes them from filing suit against the state in the first place, which makes sense to me. It definitely sounds like a conflict of interest because of what we're looking at. Cannabis is a big money budgeted in the state where cops get the money. So why would they be okay with letting it not give them any more money without a fight? But there's not enough people fighting him. They're not getting the citizens of South Dakota behind them, which is how it used to be. Used to get people going, no, our kids, our streets. It's been proven to not be the case. They don't have those platforms anymore, and they're not showing up. Now you're getting that same person that said it was bad for kids are showing you the stats that it's down in legal states and how well it works for her bunions. Okay? She's like, well, it can't be that bad. Look what it did to my elbows. These things were cracked to beat heck, and now they're smooth as a forehead on a llama. You know what I'm saying? So all of these don't work. So they just don't have the support. They don't have the support anymore. And even in conservative states like South Dakota. So every single cannabis reform initiative that made the November ballot was approved by voters. So anyway, a Nebraska sheriff, he successfully litigated to get a medical cannabis legalization initiative kicked off the state ballot prior to Election Day, despite activists having collected enough signatures to qualify. So anyway, Montana is arguing that a voter-approved statutory proposal is unlawfully appropriating funds, violating a portion of the state constitution, and it just sounds like a bunch of poo. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I think this is going to be a great year for cannabis. Don't give up hope, especially if you use it for medical, and we all know that it all is medical use. It's all medical use. But I would challenge somebody to go try the Delta-8 and let me know what you think. And then let's, maybe I'll talk about it more. Again, contact your legislators. Contact all your people and tell them to start taking cannabis serious in the legislative sessions that begin, I believe, January 6th. You can reach out to Leslie Ann Paulson, Committee for Compassionate Care, and she can tell you what you can do or whatever. So anyway, Missouri lawmakers' new bill would put marijuana legalization on 2022 ballot, and that's the kind of stuff that's happening. New York lawmakers pre-file 8 marijuana bills for 2021 as state pursues legislation. And New York, like they say, they're not going to let New Jersey take all their money. That's horrible. So anyway, Killer Mike, he's from Run the Jewels. Awesome dude. Killer Mike challenges Joe Biden to adopt Bernie Sanders' marijuana legalization plan. And if you're following the stuff, the drug czar, they want Joe Biden to be the drug czar. That's not good. That's horrible. Okay, NBA could permanently end marijuana tests so it doesn't become Big Brother. I talked about that the other day. NBA players won't be tested for marijuana next year as league weighs permanent change, so that's awesome. Missouri launches medical marijuana sales at state's first dispensary. And I just wanted to say how many billions of stinking dollars has been raised in Illinois. So anyway, marijuana use remains stable amid surge of state-level legalization. So there just isn't, it's falling. There's no support. And so I love that. And anyway, we're having a good time, aren't we? Let me just wrap this up and tell you, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday. 4 o'clock, we get into it. 4:20, I open a bag of cannabis news. And this is no different this Thursday, except it's New Year's Eve. 2 Year's Eve. I forgot how to talk there. New Year's Eve, that's exciting. Of course, with COVID, it's not as exciting. But, nothing like being home in front of a fire, fired up, if you got a medical card. So anyway, I wanted to mention here now that this is where I would tell you an underwriter who pays to get me to say this and keeps the station afloat, but we don't have any. So I'm saying to those that would like to be an underwriter, go to the Radio Free Fargo, any of the social media pages, and send them a message, and we'll follow up. And because right now there's got to be at least 70,000 people listening to the words of your boy Wilson right now. And if I could say, oh, blah, blah, blah likes to blah, 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 go check out their blah, blah, blah. That could be you right here in this spot. Okay? So anyway, give it a thought, and then reach out to us, and we'll get you something wrote up. And I don't even know how much it is. That's something you'll have to find out, but I would imagine it's pretty reasonable. And for, the amount of plugs that we give you, it's every hour, and it's a pre-written thing, and you get to be part of the coolest station that I know. It's a station with a backbone. We don't have any kingpin up top, telling me what I can say and what I can't say. I know what I can't say. I know what I'm going to say. And that's all it needs. I have a conscience, all right? I mean, and 2 years clean, my conscience is probably worse than anybody's. I can assure you. So right is right and wrong is the other stations. So reach out, get yourself to being an underwriter this new year, 2021. It's going to be the best year yet here for Radio Free Fargo, KRFF, 95.9 LPFM, and Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. We cover cannabis legalization in a positive light, and we do a couple toony tunes in between all that. And side stage with Trav, and noon to 3, automation, and then 4 to 5. Now I got a brand new KRS-One song, and it's kind of interesting because KRS-One's new song has the E word behind it for explicit. But I listened to it a million times, and if you're checking me out, maybe you can find it. But I can't find the expletive that makes this song, brand new KRS-One, have the E for explicit. But it's Don't Fall For It, KRS-One, brand new, between the protest. I can't talk. Let's just listen to music. Oh, man, Something Smells Funky Around Here, Elvin Bishop. That's off the Something Smells Funky Around Here album, 2018. And right before that is Don't Fall For It, KRS-One. That's from the Between the Protest brand new album. Go check that out. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday. We talk about cannabis legalization and the benefits of cannabis, and today's no different. 420, we open a bag of cannabis news, and we just got through that. And what a lovely one it is. RadioFreeFargo.org. You can go check this out right now, I would imagine, on the archives. Canna-Talk ND on YouTube. We're going to give you the New Year Eve, New Year's edition tomorrow sometime. Stay open for that. We'll let you know. RadioFreeFargo.org. Again, give them some money. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday. Side stage with Trav, noon to 3. At 4, automation, and then from 4 to 5, it's your boy Wilson, and I'll be back here next Thursday, and then after that, it'll be a pre-recorded show from March 3rd, so that's going to be interesting, because I guarantee you it's going to sound like, it's going to sound weird. It's going to have, connotations. I'm going to say stuff like, go outside, hang out with people, all kinds of stuff, and so it's kind of funny in 2020 how much we've changed, because if you could have seen now in January, you wouldn't, you know what I mean? You wouldn't have known what to do. So anyway, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday, 420, we open a bag of cannabis news. And again, we're in Fargo, so I wish everybody the best. We got a new year coming tomorrow, or tonight, depending on how you see it. And I love everybody. I can feel the love coming back. So get your streamers, get your horns, and do what you do. And next Thursday, I'll have a brand new shirt, brand new hat, but same message. Cannabis legalization has to get done. And this needs to be the year it is. So be good to everybody. Educate yourself so you can educate somebody else. David Allen, Judgment Day. See ya.